When my wife returned home from the USS Truman after 9 months at sea, she only wanted peace and a hot meal. But the HOA's self-appointed enforcer, Karen, called the cops within minutes, claiming she was trespassing. 5 minutes later, those same officers stood at attention, asking my wife for her orders. It was the kind of morning that makes you believe the world can still be kind. Sunlight flickered through pine needles. Our flag moved lazily in the breeze, and I had the grill cleaned, waiting for my wife to finally come home. 9 months, 2 deployments back-to-back on the USS Truman. 9 months of static-filled phone calls, early morning letters, and video chats that froze right when she smiled. When she called last week to say, "I'm finally coming home," I counted down every hour. I prepped the house, trimmed the yard, and even convinced our old hound, Buster, to stay clean long enough for a family photo. We lived at the edge of Brookstone Lakes, a semi-rural neighborhood that had been swallowed by an HOA 5 years back. We bought our house before the expansion, which meant, by county law, we weren't actually under their jurisdiction. But that didn't stop one woman from trying to control everything within her binocular range. Her name was Glenda Harper, though everyone just called her Karen. HOA president, self-proclaimed community protector, and walking microphone for rules no one remembered voting for. She'd fined people for leaving garden hoses visible, sent letters about improper mailbox hues, and once called animal control because someone's kid left a stuffed tiger on the porch. For months, she'd been sending me reminders that I should voluntarily comply with HOA codes, even though our deed explicitly exempted us. I ignored her mostly. Until that day. At 10:04 a.m., I heard the rumble of a Navy bus easing down our gravel lane. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Buster barked once and froze. And there she was, Lieutenant Commander Rachel Danvers, U.S. Navy, my wife, carrying her sea bag, hair tucked tight under her cover, sunlight bouncing off her ribbons. I barely made it down the steps before she dropped everything and ran into my arms. 9 months of distance collapsed into 1 second of silence, then laughter, then tears. She smelled of jet fuel, salt, and the sea. We were still laughing when Karen appeared, clipboard in hand. I saw the expression even before she opened her mouth, the look of someone about to make a problem. "Excuse me," she barked, striding up the driveway. "You can't park that bus here. This is HOA property and—" I turned slowly. "Ma'am, the bus is Navy transport. They'll be gone in a minute." "That doesn't matter," she snapped, already fishing out her phone. "We have strict parking regulations. No commercial or government vehicles over 3 tons. You'll need to remove it immediately." Rachel glanced at me, then back at her, bemused. "Ma'am, this is a Navy shuttle. We're unloading personnel." Karen frowned, as if personnel was a foreign word. "Well, I'll need to verify that." "And who exactly are you?" "I don't recognize you as a resident." Rachel blinked, stunned. "I live here." "This is my house," Karen sniffed. "Oh, really? Because your name's not on the HOA roster. Are you renting?" "We don't allow short-term tenants." I stepped forward. "We're not in your HOA, Glenda. The property's private." "You've been told that 3 times, she smirked. "You can't opt out just because you want to. Everyone here follows the rules." "I'm calling security," and she did, dialed right there, pacing dramatically while neighbors looked on. But security, in HOA terms, meant the local sheriff's office, which she called almost weekly for lawn disputes. 5 minutes later, a patrol jeep rolled up, dust swirling. 2 deputies stepped out, hands on belts, looking curious but not alarmed. Karen rushed toward them. "Officers?" "Thank goodness. This woman claims she lives here but isn't on any record. She's trespassing on HOA property." The deputies looked from her to Rachel, then to me, then back to Rachel's uniform. Rachel didn't say a word. She reached into her jacket and pulled out her identification folder. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Danvers, United States Navy, returning from deployment on the USS Harry S. Truman. This is my residence. These are my orders authorizing leave. She handed over the papers. The air shifted. The first deputy blinked, recognized the seal, and straightened instantly. The second one gave a small nod, stepped back, and, almost instinctively, said, "Ma'am, welcome home." Karen's mouth hung open. What do you mean, welcome home? She can't just—" The senior deputy turned to her, voice flat but sharp. "Ma'am, these are official military orders. This officer has full right of entry and residence here. Do you have documentation proving otherwise?" Karen stammered something about HOA covenants and community rights, but the deputies weren't listening anymore. They both faced Rachel, now standing tall in her uniform. "Commander," one said, almost reverently. "Anything you need from us?" Rachel smiled faintly. "Just a quiet afternoon, officer. Copy that." "Ma'am." And just like that, the 5 most satisfying minutes of my life ended with the HOA president standing mute.
2 officers at attention and my wife, back home where she belonged. Karen didn't take humiliation well.
The next day, she plastered the HOA bulletin board with a violation notice, demanding we submit architectural plans for our flagpole. The same one that had flown for 8 years. She added a line. "Military paraphernalia must be pre-approved by the board." Rachel read it, eyebrows raised. "Military paraphernalia? She means the flag?" "Apparently so." That was the moment my wife decided she wasn't just coming home, she was going to fight back. She spent 2 hours on the phone with county zoning, another with the State Veterans Affairs Office, and finally with her commanding officer's legal liaison. By sundown, we had every statute, regulation, and federal protection printed, highlighted, and tabbed in a folder thicker than Karen's clipboard. 2 days later, Rachel walked in uniform to the HOA meeting. It was held in the clubhouse where Karen's loyal few gathered around coffee and complaints. The room went still when Rachel entered. Karen recovered first. "Oh, this is private, members only." Rachel set her folder down. "Then let's talk membership." Her voice was calm, commanding. "Our property lies outside your recorded boundaries. County Plat number 3114A, exempted by deed. Any further attempt to enforce HOA policies on my family violates state housing law and federal protections for returning service members." Karen flushed. "We just want harmony." "Then stop harassing civilians," Rachel said quietly. "You called the police on a Navy officer returning from deployment. You embarrassed them and you embarrassed yourself." The silence was heavy. One board member, a man named Harold who'd never liked confrontation, cleared his throat. "She's right, Glenda. We've had enough bad press lately." Rachel opened the folder, spread out the highlighted maps, and let them look. There it was, in unmistakable black and white. Our parcel, outside HOA jurisdiction, recorded 2 years before Brookstone Lakes even formed. Karen tried to pivot. "Well, perhaps we could discuss voluntary compliance." "Voluntary compliance," Rachel repeated. "Sounds a lot like coercion when paired with police calls." By the end of that meeting, the board had voted to cease all correspondence with non-HOA parcels. It was quiet, reluctant, but final. Rachel thanked them politely, gathered her papers, and left. Karen stayed seated, staring at nothing, her power dissolving in real time. Weeks passed and peace returned. Neighbors began waving again. Someone brought over pie with a thank you note for standing up to the madness. Karen stopped patrolling. Her clipboard disappeared. Rachel slipped easily back into civilian life, trading steel decks for garden beds. She taught the kids how to raise and lower the flag properly, how to fold it at dusk. One morning, the same deputy who'd responded that day drove by, slowed, and waved. He called out, "Commander, good to see you home." Rachel grinned. "Good to be back, officer." He leaned out the window. "That HOA lady still around?" "Somewhere," I said. "But quieter," he laughed. "Guess she learned not to pick fights with the Navy." That night, Rachel and I sat on the porch, coffee steaming between us. Crickets sang, the flag rippled, and the house lights from across the lake glimmered like a calm sea. "Funny," she said softly. 5 minutes can change everything." "Yeah," I said. 5 minutes and a uniform, but it wasn't the uniform, it was the truth of it. Respect isn't demanded with rules. It's earned through service, patience, and dignity, and sometimes justice really does wear dress blues.